Do you sometimes find yourself reflecting on the past and thinking, why did I make that decision? What was I thinking? I should have made another decision. Well, if you could have, you would have. In some other scenarios, we might see a loved one struggling and we see all the options available to them, and yet they are not able to make those choices for themselves. And we would just want to shake them up and say, why don't you? Well, if they could, they would. We are an intelligent species. In any set of circumstances, we make the best decision that is available to us. Now, that decision may vary from individual to individual because we all have our own thoughts and beliefs, and also our own state of mind. So, if I'm making a decision today, I might make a different decision tomorrow depending on how I'm thinking and feeling the other day. Let's take a few examples. How about food, the most common example? We all know and understand the value of nutritional whole foods, yet sometimes we make choices which are not so healthy. And it does not mean that at that time we have forgotten about how foods work. It's more like in that state, what can serve me? It might be coming from a place of feeling indulgent or wanting to reward ourselves or maybe taking a day off. The motivation could be anything. But if we are making a decision, it's based on how our state of mind is and what we are looking for. Another example is money, being tight with money or splurging money. It again depends on what belief system we are operating from. Do we think that money doesn't grow on trees, so we should hold tight to money? Or do we feel that I just want to have a good day, so I'm just throwing money away? It all depends on where we are. And so we make a decision from that frame of mind. How about relationships? Sometimes people see that there are red flags in relationships, but they still go ahead. Why? Maybe because they are operating from thoughts like, this is the best I can get. Um, Life doesn't give you all that you want, so you have to settle. I might just end up alone. Or maybe other thoughts and beliefs. So, given any set of circumstances, we make the best decision possible. Even habits. If a person is making a bad choice in a moment, we might judge them thinking, don't they know better? But maybe in that moment they don't. Because if someone is reaching for a smoke or a drink or an unhealthy habit, and we feel that the person should be intelligent enough to understand the disadvantages of that habit in the long term, maybe that person is not even thinking of long term. Maybe that person is only looking for a release in the short term. And so, if that short term release is more important, then the person would go for that. Because guess what? Only when I'm able to cross this hurdle in the short time, only then I will think of the long time. My priority is getting over the situation now. So, from that perspective, I cannot think about the overarching impacts of my habits. So, we always go for the best choice that's available for us in the moment. And now, slowly we evolve, we grow, we mature, and we change. We become hopefully better human beings, and especially people who are in self improvement and self growth circles. They gain understanding. We understand how our beliefs work, how patterns work, and then we try to become better people by working on ourselves. But sometimes, with these hindsight goggles, we look back and see the choices that we made in the past, and then we start judging ourselves. or why did I make that choice? What was I thinking? How could I? But we are looking at that situation from the perspective of the person that we are today. The person who was making those choices in that moment is not the same person. Think back to an example where that happened and think back from the perspective of the person who made that choice. You will see that that option was the only option for you. You couldn't have made a different choice. If you could have, you would have. So stop beating yourselves up for something that you did not do in the past. Well, you could not have. Similarly, for people we love, when we tell them about the options that are available to them, the opportunities, and they seem to struggle and fall back into same old habits and patterns and cannot move ahead, we just don't understand why they are not able to see what we are telling them or understand what we are sharing with them. Because again, we do not know what thoughts and patterns and behaviors they are operating from. Maybe they are also stuck in a survival mode where only what is available in front seems the best option for them. So, guilt tripping someone or bullying someone to make a choice that we seem is appropriate for them will not work. I'm sure we all had these times in our own lives when someone was telling us that this choice is not the right one for you. And we listened to them, but we still felt that what I was feeling in that moment was the right one for me. Maybe it didn't turn out that way, but everyone makes the best choice for themselves. Now, does this seem it's a cop out and we should just willy nilly do that or things that we want to do? No, let's gather experiences, let's gather wisdom from these past events and then use them to better ourselves in the future. But what is not helpful is gathering wisdom and then beating ourselves up for the mistakes that we made in the past. Again, also support your loved ones. Provide them guidance, provide them with tips and tools and strategies so that they can make better decisions for themselves. But don't beat them up about not able to see what you're trying them to see. You can only help them, but the final decision is theirs. And once they are in that position where they can also see what you are seeing, then definitely they will also make the decision that you want them to make. So let's stop beating ourselves up over the mistakes of the past or over our blind spots or when we are not able to see what all serves us, and give ourselves grace for the mistakes of the past and use that experience to help us in the future.